Hey y'all, Ayla here, and welcome back to my channel. So, fingers crossed, I am going to show you how to paint, I should say, a rock like this. It was very easy because I don't do anything that isn't. I have like a 5 minute at best mentality, and if it takes longer than that, I'm over it. So, yeah. So what you start out with is a rock. Any rock, big rock, little rock. They all work. It doesn't matter. You don't have to paint them with a base. You can, like this one. I sampled the colors that I'm using to see how they would look on just a rock. And they actually look kind of nice. But I do think they're more vibrant on this rock. And the reason is I did a white base coat. And you don't have to get fancy. This is a really old, very, very old bottle of Deco Art Crafters acrylic, all-purpose acrylic paint. That's, I just finally bought a new bottle because that one finally went. So, now I've got apple barrel. It's fine. Just a good old thing of white acrylic craft paint. And you do the whole thing, you just cover the whole thing. And do I have it? No, I guess I finally washed off most of the white. Oh, no, there's still some white there because I just use my hand. You can use a brush. I just squeeze it on and then rub it around and do 2 or 3 coats. You can totally use a brush. I'm just lazy. A brush is just one more thing to clean up later. So then I am going to show you this. Let me lift up this. This is the brand of pen or marker that I've been using lately. I do have others. I have Posca and all of those fancy ones. But this thing is amazing. It opens up, it zips, and then it opens up, and you get all these amazing colors. You get metallics, you get regular black and white. I do wish it had more blacks and whites. I wish I had at least a couple of each, but oh well. I have been using these things like crazy for quite a while, and they are not running out yet. And I'm thrilled because one of the really nice things about them, you don't have to shake them, you don't have to prime them. You literally just take the lid off and start painting. And these are acrylic paint markers, so that is acrylic paint, same as what's in here, just in a marker form, which is really, really nice. Okay, so you've painted your base coat white. Then you take, here, I'll go ahead and start on this one. You pick out a color, doesn't matter. You just grab a marker and you get in here. So I'm trying a different way of doing this, trying to contain my rocks. You just scribble some spaces on here in various places. And you do it in various colors so that you end up with a rock that looks like this. Ignore the black lines. I was testing out to make sure that I had everything set up to make the video and actually started drawing the lines like a bozo. So I haven't finished, thankfully. We'll get into the lines in a moment. And you may notice there's some little chips where paint has come off. I will be able to go back and fill that in as needed, if needed. So you do that. And then there's a little trick, a little step that I just decided to do to get this sort of, I don't know, it looks, I don't know really what the effect looks like. I don't know, I just love it. It doesn't look just like this. You get this sort of a pearly sort of look, I guess. And what I used is this. Chameleon acrylic paints, color shifting iridescent paint. Got these at Five Below. Sorry, I just got my hand totally in front. If y'all have never used Five Below craft products, I gotta tell you, I've been impressed. Very, very impressed. Sometimes these things cost less than $5. Usually they are just straight up $5. But this is the color that I used on the rocks. This is just the white. And all I did, again, I just used my fingers, but you can use a brush. A little of this goes a very long way. I just put way more than I needed on here. I can't find the lid. There's the lid. But we'll make it work. So then you just dropped the rock. And that's why I have it on this, in the box lid, because I don't want to risk spilling paint everywhere. I've done that more than once. If you think that there's a sheet or a blanket or a pillow in my house that doesn't have paint on it, you're wrong. most of my clothes have paint. See, I'm just literally just smearing this all over. And I'm going to pause while I do this because it's really boring. Okay, it's right there and it's drying. But while it's drying, I'm going to do a few more colors over here. Trying to do it in the camera makes it kind of hard to see what I'm doing. There we go. I'm going to add a brighter color. I have to fight with myself to remember to do bright colors because I just like blues and greens and purples. I'm not a big yellow and orange and red girl, which always shocks people who do astrology because I'm a Leo, and apparently it's a sun thing, sign or something. I don't really know much about that stuff, but yeah, nope. I really rather loathe the colors yellow and orange, but I recognize their importance, so I do use them. But that's all you do, and you just fill it in. So like I said, you've got this, and yeah, that's dry now. This chameleon acrylic paint dries really fast, and of course I do have a very thin coat, but it just gives a shimmer to it. So now is when you use the black marker, and you make a grid. I'm gonna get these little rocks out of the way, and that's what I've got started here. As you notice, sometimes I go straight, sometimes I go wonky. There is a reason for that. So let's see, there's one here, there, and match up there. You might notice I just got a little bit right there. Totally fine. Let's see. Guess I should, there. I think that's good enough. And then here's where the fun really begins. So you just make a flower sort of shape. And by the way, I did not come up with this. I don't know who did. I just saw a picture of this. Somebody shared it in a Facebook rock painting group that I belong to. And I just really, really loved it. So, you know, sorry that I don't know who gets credit for it. And then you just go over here. Make sure I'm still on camera. And you just make flowers. As many petals as you want. And don't worry if they're a little bit wonky like that. You'll be able to fix that unless you just want to have a wonky flower. That's okay too. Then we'll go and do one more. Look where that just fell from. A little piece of dust just fell. I really love rock painting because if you mess it up, it's okay. It's a very, very forgiving craft because I always make mistakes. I always mess stuff up. And you can just incorporate it in. And so you just go in and you fill in all of this around here. You would do this, by the way, the flower thing all over, of course. But make them as smooth or whatever as you want. And you might notice there I just accidentally marked in there. That's okay. Not a big deal. And then I will come back when I have this done because, like I said, it's really boring. You don't want to listen to me babble. Or if you do, you might want to see a therapist because I don't talk about anything interesting. Just realized I ought to show you what it looks like when you've filled in all the grids with your wonky flowers. That's kind of what I call these wonkies. These are my wonky rocks. And now I will finish getting this filled in. And yeah, this looks kind of crap, but it won't in the end, I promise. Okay, so here it is. Let's see a little spot right there that I do want to point out. I dropped the rock and somewhere in here. Oh yeah, here it is. There, I kind of smeared the paint there. So it was right, wet when I dropped it. But I'm not going to fix that. I'm just going to leave that because you know what? Life ain't perfect. I did go ahead and color this one in. I did smaller blocks of color. I kind of feel like I may have done too big color blocking on that one. And I have not put any of this acrylic chameleon paint from Five Below on there. But I did kind of think that, did I really go over the grid very well? I don't know if I did the importance of why you do a grid. And I'm just going to do this top layer here. And go wonky on there. And the reason why you do the grid is it just gives you a framework. That's all it is on where to put your flowers. You know, some of them have 3, some have 4, 5, 6. I do prefer odd numbers, but you know. So that's what that's for. There is actually one more step that I just remembered. On this one, I did these little white dots. I did them using a different kind of pen, which actually I just realized I have right here, so hang on. Okay, so this is a set of, what is it? Zenacolor Expert Series 5 white paint pens. They are very fine tipped, and all I did was go in here and we'll start with this one. 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't know however many dots you feel like doing. 2, 3, 4, 5. I sometimes go over the dots a little bit, make them a little bit bigger, and that's it. And see, I had a little chipped paint right there. I just put a little dot of the white over it to, yeah. And then I cover them with resin. I'm not going to do that because I'm inside. You need to be ventilated for that. But I let it cure for about 48 hours with the paint cure. I don't know if it needs it. It just makes me feel better to do it. And then I just squeeze some of the UV resin. It dries in sunlight, or you can use a UV light. I actually have one right here. It's a nail light. It's a little bit small for this rock, although I could hold it like that. But I have actual flashlight, UV flashlights, and that just fell, that I use on these. But I just squeeze a little bit of UV resin, smear it over. I have a glove on my hand when I do it. Smear it around in a thin coat, and I do about 2-3 coats. And then that rock is ready to go outside. Sometimes I sign my rock, sometimes I don't. Boy, I missed a bunch of spots right here. You really do kind of have to be careful with them until you get them resin, because the paint will chip, which is actually probably what happened right here. The paint probably already chipped off a little bit. So you do have to treat them a little bit carefully until you get them resin. Or you can use, I have done the outdoor Mod Podge. That works too. Again, put a layer of that on. That you can use inside. You put a layer of that on, let it dry. I do 3 to 4 coats of that. Or you can do spray clear coats. I don't use those because I have asthma, so I stay away from spray paint type stuff. But those work great too. They're actually probably one of the best options. But again, I just don't use those. So there you go. Let me know what you think below in the comments. Like and subscribe. And I promise I do have more dolly videos coming up, because I have plans. I have lots of plans, and I just have to actually enact them. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and have a great flowery rock day. I just made that up. Can you tell?